Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from John. John gave a general contribution, which I will use for this video. Sorry, guys. I tried to get started. I've been looking for Staley for the last week. I have to just accept that he probably crawled under a house somewhere and it was his time, and he was a stray, and then I guess he just wanted to die back out on the street, and that one's kind of got me real upset. But moving forward, best way to get back into the swing of things, I think, is something we'll all enjoy. This was brought to my attention. Somebody sent this to me. Sorry if you're the part of the 21%, but you 79% baby boomers, man. Oh, Jesus. 7 silent sacrifices boomers made for their adult kids that rarely get acknowledged. Oh, just the headline. Just the headline alone. Like, here we go. Here we go. The poor victim boomers. What are they upset about now? Well, let's read, shall we? We often focus on all the ways younger generations struggle: rising living costs, career pressures, and the constant juggle of adulting. But what about the parents who raised them? In particular, I've noticed that many baby boomers have quietly made significant sacrifices for their own children. Sacrifices that often slip under the radar. Boomers do nothing quietly and nothing under the radar. They do nothing that they don't demand credit for. Ever. I mean, this entire thing, who's this written? Whoever Melody Glass is. I mean, this entire thing is one seminar in gaslighting. In my own life, I've seen these subtle acts of love firsthand. My own mother, who comes from the boomer generation, always put the needs of her children and now grandchildren before her own. When I compare stories with friends, I find similar patterns. Boomers quietly going the extra mile, rarely asking for recognition or thanks. Or your boomer mother's doing what they always do, is undermine you in front of your children and then parent your children instead of you. That's what's going on. Today I want to bring some light to some of these silent sacrifices. I'm not here to say every boomer parent did all these things or that they never made mistakes. You know what, sweetheart? Like, I haven't even gotten into it. Deal with the issues of your mother. Stand up to your mother for once. What's your name? Melody? Melody, stand up to your mother for once. Because I'll tell you this, Melody, no matter how many gaslighting, glowing articles you write to pump up your mother, you'll never be good enough. You'll never be good enough to her. Ever. You can write 1,000 of these. Won't make a damn bit of difference. When push comes to shove, you will never be good enough to her in her eyes. Rather, I want to acknowledge the little and sometimes not so little ways many have paved the way for their adult kids. Maybe this will prompt you to reflect on how you might show a little more appreciation for your own parents or for the older mentors in your life. Let's dive in. God. Stand up to your mother, Melody. Giving up personal dreams for stability. When? You're talking about boomers, right? You're talking about boomers. Have you ever asked your parents what they wanted to be when they grew up and gotten a wistful shrug in response? No. They'll tell you, and they'll tell you the reason they didn't achieve it was because of you. That's what they'll tell you. What are you doing here? A lot of boomers had dreams of traveling the world. Oh, God, because that's what the boomers haven't done. They haven't traveled enough. Pursuing creative careers or starting their own businesses. But many of them ended up shelving these aspirations in favor of stable, practical jobs. Like, It's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. And then to say that they didn't travel the world or pursue creative careers anyway, or started their own businesses, like, because everyone didn't do it? Are you serious? Like, this is delusional. This is written by a woman who was raised by a borderline mother who she's still afraid to stand up to. That's what this is. In one of my previous posts, I talked about how we can sometimes put our own passions on hold, and while that's true for most adults, I've seen this happen at a larger scale for the boomer generation. Are you insane? They often entered careers they didn't particularly love, or they stuck with jobs longer than they'd hoped just to ensure their kids would have an education, a home environment, and financial support they believed was crucial. That's what you're supposed to do. It's called having a job. This is what I'm talking about with this generation. They want credit for just normal shit. They want to be lauded at the end of their lives because they held a job. Like, my mother is a perfect example. She once told me she had dreamed of being an interior designer. Instead, she stayed in a government job for 30 years so I could have a constant upbringing and guaranteed college fund, which was probably discounted, and she was overpaid, and she had a Cadillac health penalty. Oh my God, 30 years as a government employee? Oh, the sacrifice, the boomer. Can you imagine what her fucking pension must be? No mention of the pension in here. The lifetime pension and health benefits being a 30-year government employee. Oh, the poor boomers. What her poor dreams. I don't think I truly appreciated that until I became a parent myself. It's easy for us as adults to want our parents to follow their own dreams, but the reality is many boomers felt it was their responsibility to be the family rock, and so those personal goals just never made it off the ground. Again, what you're supposed to do. Shouldering financial burdens later in life. There's a reason we often hear about boomers not saving enough for retirement. What are you talking about? They have acquired more wealth than any generation combined. They have sucked every friggin' dollar out of the economy, out of the real estate market, out of the business market. They have absorbed it all. They've eaten up all the equity, all of it for themselves. And we saw in the last boomer video I did with the chart, okay, 79% want to keep it for themselves. Only 21% plan to share it with future generations. 79% of this generation told pollsters that they want to take it all with them, that they have no plans to share it with their family while they're alive. 79%. What are you talking about? Well, if you're in the 21%, congratulations. But this girl's not in the 20%. Because nobody in the 21% would think to write this about the boomer. They just wouldn't. Because they have a normal relationship. So there's no need to go out and have to try to prove yourself to your parents later on in life. Okay, to try to finally make your mother happy, which she's never gonna do. Oh my God. The financial burdens, are you serious? While economic conditions and lack of reliable pension plans play a role, what are you talking? Your mother had a government pension plan. These government workers all have reliable pension plans. That's the problem. That's why we're going broke. There's another layer. Many have been quietly funneling financiers towards their adult children, whether it's helping with a down payment on a home, co-signing student loans, stepping in to cover emergency expenses. Boomers are frequently the financial safety net. Yeah, because you drove up the cost of everything and you sucked up all the money. You sucked up all the real estate. You took it all for yourselves. There's no jobs left. You can't afford health care. You can't afford a down payment. Oh my God. I personally know a couple in their early 70s who are still working part-time to support their adult child who's going through a major life transition. They never complained or asked for payback. They see it as their duty or just perhaps an extension of parental love. However, the long-term effects can be significant. According to research, many parents in the boomer demographic have faced noticeable dip in their retirement accounts because they've used these funds to support adult children. The result, they're retiring later or not at all because they put their kids' financial stability ahead of their own. Bullshit. I'm sure there's few out there, and there's the 21% that is very generous with their money and does plan to share it. See, the problem is there might be these boomers that she knows who the kid has some kind of problem. They went back because they're a normal, loving family, and they do it without thinking. That's not your family. That's not the person who wrote this. The person who wrote this doesn't have normal parents, has something she's trying to prove and make them happy. Stepping in as default caregivers again. There's a saying by John C. Maxwell, leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts, it's about one life influencing another. Many boomers have taken on leadership role in their families multiple times over, first with their children and then with their grandchildren. Right, after they undermined their children the entire time. Even after raising their own kids, plenty of boomer parents step right back into a caregiving role, whether through babysitting so their adult kids can work or even taking on full-time custody in extreme cases. Right, because you can't survive on one income anymore. Okay, so two parents have to work. It isn't the same when you were raising kids back in the 70s and 80s and even early 90s. No. And why is that? Because of the economy the boomers created. This can significantly impact their well-being, free time, and social lives. You wouldn't want to impact a boomer's social life now, would you? I know a boomer grandma who juggles grandchild pickups, activities, and meal preps almost daily, leaving her barely any time for herself. She's not complaining. In fact, she loves being there for her grandchildren. Still, it's a sacrifice that doesn't always get acknowledged. When you think about it, that's another lifetime of emotional and physical labor on top of what we already put in growing up. It's no small feat, and often don't realize the toll we can take and do it ourselves. You seem to know an awful lot of boomers, and you're intimately involved with an awful lot of boomers' personal lives. Maybe it's because they can't stop talking about everything. Adapting to new technology, even if it intimidates them. Oh, God. Well, if it brings them attention, they're sure going to figure it out quick. We live in an era where everything seems to revolve around the latest app or digital platform. For boomers who grew up in a completely different technological landscape, adapting to this constant change can be daunting. Maybe you've seen your parents squinting at their smartphones, trying to figure out how to FaceTime or fumbling with Zoom calls so they can keep in touch when traveling is impossible. From ordering groceries online to managing internet banking, they've had to learn often on the fly just to stay connected and supportive in a world that's increasingly digital. One of my friends has a father who proudly says he only uses the phone to make calls, yet he learned how to navigate an online application site. For his adult son who has a disability, it took him weeks to figure out, and he probably found it stressful, but he never made a fuss. He just did it quietly. That's what parents do. As Sheryl Sandberg said, done is better than perfect. And I think that resonates here. Boomers might not get it all right on the first try, but the fact that they consistently show up to learn, no matter how intimidated they might feel, speaks volumes about their dedication to learn to use a computer in 2025. Like, honestly, the things you are trying to give them credit for is mind-blowing. It's what you give credit to special needs children for. Suppressing personal struggles to avoid worrying their kids, because that's the boomers never try to worry their kids. Something I've become more aware of as I've gotten older. Boomers often come from a mindset where you don't burden others with your problems. I've seen parents hide health scares, financial troubles, and emotional struggles because they don't want to add stress to their children's already busy lives. My own mother once dealt with a significant medical issue without telling me until it was nearly resolved. Oh, sounds like a hero. How is it you know all these heroic boomers? Like, it just seems really odd. It seems really odd that one person can know all these heroic boomers. She admitted later she didn't want me to worry or feel like she had a rush on her side. In her mind, she had a full plate, so she opted to keep it to herself. But she didn't keep it to herself. She told you after the fact to add on additional guilt. How do you not see what your mother's doing here? It's manipulative. It's abusive. It's borderline personality disordered behavior. While I understand her intent, I can't help feel a tinge of sadness that she went through it alone. That's the point. She didn't go through it alone. She didn't. She wants you to think she did. It's a silent sacrifice, facing hardship quietly, believing that their adult children have enough on their plate. Experts like Stephen Covey talk about the importance of emotional intelligence and communication within families, but sometimes the boomer generation's sense of responsibility can override that, leading them to shoulder burdens silently. Oh, God. They're such heroes. They're such heroes. You just ask them. Just ask them. Holding back opinions to maintain peace. Boomers, I mean, they silent. They just keep it to themselves. When adult kids live different lifestyles or hold contrasting values, it's common for friction to crop up, whether it's about career choices, parenting styles, or relationships. But I've noticed that many boomers often bite their tongues. Come on, man. Oh, this is a joke. In order to avoid creating tension or pushing their kids away. It's that classic line, I'll keep my opinions to myself. And believe me, they usually have strong opinions, especially on topics like finances and marriage. But they learn that once their kids reached adulthood, unsolicited advice could strain relationships. Did they? Did they really? A neighbor shared with me how her father, a strong-willed boomer, rarely comments on her decisions anymore despite having major reservations about her choice to move overseas. He simply said, "You're an adult and I respect your decision. I'm here if you need me." That restraint, not always easy, especially if you think your child might be making a mistake. But in many cases, it's a sacrifice they make to keep a relationship healthy and supported. Making time for everyone except themselves. Come on. Perhaps most crucially, many boomer parents are known for sacrificing their own me time. Come on, this is a joke. This can't be real. Even in retirement or semi-retirement, they might fill their schedules, caring for grandchildren, helping with errands, volunteering at local organizations, or supporting the broader community. There's something quite admirable about their willingness to show up for the others. But it also means that they often place their own self-care at the bottom of the list. Are you trying? Did your mother cut you out of the will? You're not going to get the money. Like, dude, whatever this is fucking delusional. Anybody who's dealt with these people knows, like, this is just delusional. Daniel Carnegie famously said, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years of trying to get other people interested in you. Boomers embody this principle by continuously centering others' needs. Come on. This is really written. It's a selflessness many of us may not fully recognize. That's an understatement. Boy, is that an understatement. But the fact remains they're consistently on call for family, often at an age when they might like to simply relax and enjoy hobbies they've waited decades to explore. Wrapping up, when we look at these 7 quiet acts of love, it becomes evident that many boomer parents have invested more than just time and money. They've showed up emotionally, physically, and mentally, even when it meant shelving their own dreams or postponing their own comfort. Here at DM News, we believe, I don't even want to know. Daily motivation. Yeah, this is Drek. I almost think this is written by AI. Like, this is just, look. If you want any more proof or a better example of boomers, you need to look no further than the election last night in Canada, which I knew was going to go the way it went, which I knew it. I knew that Pierre Paul was a loser. Okay, and if you want to blame Trump, if Trump is the reason that through your election in Canada, then Trump's already the leader of Canada. What it turns out is the reason why, okay, you've elected the same party as Justin Trudeau again in Canada. Canadians 60 years and older are more worried about dealing with Trump than Canadians' housing crisis or cost of living. Young people, they want affordable living costs and rent. Boomers look south, shrugged, and let Canada rot. Reducing the cost of living. Boomers, 60 and over, under 40%. 38% was the most important factor. Meanwhile, Gen X and 30 to 44, 40 to 49, 18 to 29, above 50%, right under 50%. Boomers down here. Dealing with Donald Trump, 50%. Making housing more affordable, boomers, here it is, under 10%. 10% was their deciding vote. Improving their healthcare system in Canada, that's up at 30%. They led on that. More benefits for themselves. More benefits for themselves. Growing the economy. Fuck them kids, the boomers said in Canada. The lowest. Making Canada a better place to live. Look at this. What is that, 5%? Protecting public services. They're higher than anybody. Managing the federal budget and deficit. They're higher than anybody. That's boomers. That's why you lost, Canada. That's why Canada is a lost nation. Because of the boomers. The boomers, whether it's the 79% here or the 70 or even the higher percentage in Canada, look at this number. They care more about their pensions and Donald Trump and their tariffs and holding on to their money than protecting their children's futures, okay, protecting housing costs and protecting their grandchildren. Yet, and still, they will tell you, people like Melody Glass, whoever the hell this is, will tell you about the 7 silent sacrifices the boomers making. It's gaslighting bullshit. That's your boomers, Canada. And your women. And your women too. Listen, you don't have a conservative party up there. You don't. We barely have one here. It's Trump and a few other people. Most of the Republicans here are losers as well. And understand something. You're going to be much easier to control. Canada's going to be much easier to control now with this guy Kerry continuing to drive you into the ground because we're not coming to help you. The tariffs are going to continue. You can't out-manufacture us. We don't need anything you sell. And here's the thing. The bottom line is we don't want you as a state. The best case scenario for you guys is to become cold weather Puerto Rico. You become a territory. Taxation without representation. You think we want your 41 million people voting in here? thrown into our electoral college. You know how many electoral votes that would be? And 2 more dumbass liberal senators? No, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. The best case scenario for Canada, the best case scenario is you become Puerto Rico. And don't worry, you'll be taxed without representation, but your taxes are going to be a lot cheaper. And we're just going to take your resources because you don't even have a military left to participate in military exercises with us when we have military naval exercises with the UK and other countries. You guys can't function in them. Your equipment can't keep up with everyone else's equipment. There's nothing you can do. Have fun. And that's all, and that's what the boomers left you up there. But on the other hand, since you will be a territory, you will be subject to our immigration laws. So maybe we could get you some mass deportations as well. So there is some sort of upside for the chaos and the havoc the boomers have wrought in Canada and down here as well. It is stunning. I mean, this is them telling you they don't care about you or your future or your kids. They only care about themselves. Reducing the cost of living was the lowest, under 40%. Look at this, stopping Donald Trump. They're at 50%. The next one is Gen X. What is that, like 34%? Nobody cares. Everybody wants to get the economy. Nope. Not the boomers. Not the boomers. And they control everything. They got all your wealth too. Just like down here. But, 7 silent sacrifices the boomers made for their adult kids. Keep that in mind. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Why don't you? So there's my I'm back video. Sorry again, everybody, for the, but that cat was by my side for 16 years. And, not that I didn't love Axel too, but Staley was Staley. And, he was the best cat I ever had. So it was not a good week for me. Kept working out, but, I'm under 200 pounds now. So that's good. But other than that, thank you, everybody, for your patience and your support. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you want to get a video in, you want to get something, you know what to do with the links. And I will see you all soon. All right, everybody. Take care.